Hi guys, welcome. We are tasting the new Diageo Special Releases for 2024 here at Master of Malt. I'm Adam.
Hi, and I'm Alwynne, and we are super excited to have all 8 of the new releases here, looking beautiful, aren't they, Adam?
Absolutely gorgeous. We've got 8 lovely whiskies here, and we're going to start with this lovely Singleton of Glenord, aged 14 years, initially in refill casks, and then interestingly enough, we've got Pyrenean and Spanish oak ends.
Which is quite unusual. So they've obviously taken the ends, if you guys don't know, the cask is obviously made up of staves. It is put together with a hoop, and at each end is a cask end, and it seems like they've swapped out the normal cask ends for different ones of different types of oak. So super exciting to see the impact that it's had on this whiskey. Thank you, Adam.
No worries. There we go. The taste.
Cheers.
It's very fruity.
Very fruity, and like you just almost there's a lot of texture almost on the nose. I realize texture generally comes in on the palate, but it just feels like there's a nice weightiness to this whiskey. Straight away, lots of fruitiness.
Very citrusy, I think.
Absolutely.
A little bit
Oranges, nutty, definitely. Yeah.
You can tell it's cask strength. This is 54.7% ABV, which is punchy. Yeah. Everything is natural cask strength here.
Yeah, non-chill filtered, natural cask strength.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're going to get a little bit more of that intensity and that woodiness, certainly.
Yeah.
Spice, but there's, again, that fruit really follows through from the nose onto the palate, which is really nice. And I think what's fun about this is with the Singleton, a lot of people don't maybe know it as well as a brand. Last year in the previous Spirited Xchange release, which was the first iteration of this that Diageo brought out, they had a Singleton, but it was from Glendullan, and this is from Glenord.
Yes.
And so a lot of people may not realize that it has the Singleton brand, but it might not be from the same distillery, which is quite cool. So if you had a chance to taste that Singleton last year, yes, it's another release from the Singleton, but from a different distillery, so a different beast altogether.
Yeah,
so,
completely.
yeah. Lovely.
Lots to compare and contrast.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a very nice whiskey. What kind of marmalade note there I like.
Yeah.
Very
There's
interesting.
that little bit of bitterness, as you say, almost like when you get that marmalade kind of cooking down, and yeah, very pleasant overall, I would say.
Yeah,
and a nice little example of a kind of classic, I guess it's more high northern space side into Highlands near Inverness.
Yeah.
So it's kind of that quite a classic style. So I think definitely one that people who like that style of whiskey, it's very familiar in that sense.
100%. Completely agree.
All right.
Awesome.
Moving on.
Next whiskey.
Okay, are we heading down to the Oban?
Let's head down to Oban.
Yeah, cool.
Absolutely. Well, so next on our list we have the lovely Oban.
Beautiful again, beautiful packaging.
Yeah, this one is 10 years old and it's finished in charred Oloroso seasoned casks.
So a really lovely whiskey as well. I think people out there might be familiar with their more classic release, the Oban 14, which is very generally readily available, but we don't see a huge amount else from Oban. And I always think that's a bit of a shame because this is a phenomenal little distillery on the west coast. If you're ever heading down towards Campbellton, that area, you can kind of go there. Maybe if you're heading over from the west coast over past Glasgow, down that way. A great stop off, beautiful little village, and a wonderful distillery. It was actually, for me, I don't know, Adam, how long ago you might have tasted the Oban 14. I remember it because it was the second bottle of whiskey I ever bought, was an Oban 14. It was recommended to me, and I thought, I'll give it a try. And I was genuinely like, wow, this is a fantastic whiskey. So I'm super excited to see what they've done with this 10-year-old.
Completely agree. We'd love to see more Oban, should see more Oban. 14 is a great whiskey. This is an interesting one for us to try. 10 years old.
Right.
Stuck in, I think. Cheers.
Wow. I think it's quite, it's really evocative of a place, isn't it?
Yes, very much. Very West Coast Scotland. That kind of classic salt and sea, but it is quite delicate as well.
Yeah, there's a beautiful, almost, I would say, floral fruitiness here, which surprised me.
Yes.
Because it's not necessarily what I'm expecting from Oban, but really interesting to get that.
No, there's almost like a kind of a Turkish delight quality there.
Yeah.
That kind of
Rosy
delicate
red fruits.
fruitiness. Yeah.
Nice. Mm. Wow. And then you get more smoke, I think, than I was anticipating.
Yeah. The nose is really graceful and delicate. The palate really punches.
Wow, it's like chewy. It's like, boof, I'm in there.
Smoky, it's salty, there's a kind of a fudgy toffiness that's quite chewy in there as well.
Yeah, definitely. Very chewy. I think it's definitely a fireplace dram.
Yeah, this is
Wintry.
classic. West Coast Islands. Yeah.
Super interesting to have that differentiation on the nose and the palate, and I don't always love that because I like that matchup between that follow through. But actually, in this instance, it's really nice. It's really lovely to have that delicacy there because you don't normally think of Oban as having quite as much as delicacy as well.
Yeah, completely. It's beautiful. Really lovely dram. I can see people drinking that in the Night's Watch Game of Thrones. That's fine. Yeah.
Perfect. Or watching it with the.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
Equally
winter pleasure.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Gorgeous dram. Wow. Okay, moving on to the wonderful Kalila, one of my favourite distilleries of all time.
I am also very excited about this one because, again, they're really trying, I think, with the special releases to, I guess, switch things up a little bit, aren't they? So they're giving it an opportunity for the consumer to try something that they might not have had before, and what makes this one special this year is the fact it's unpeated. So, as you say, one of your favorite whiskeys. It'll be interesting to see once you taste it, if that stays the same.
Very much so. We've also got shorter fermentations than we usually see for Kalila.
Yep.
We've got a nice cloudy wort as well.
So I'm expecting a little bit more chewiness, especially with it being non-chill filtered. Cloudy wort tends to give you more malty, robust intensity coming out of that fermentation. So we might see that, but again, we'll have to wait, nose and taste. So.
Kalila, as we haven't seen it before. So
exciting.
Very exciting.
Yeah. All right. Should we go in?
Let's go in.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So funny when you have like a mapped out aroma profile of Kalila in your brain, and then this just absolutely changes all of that.
Yeah, this is like no Kalila you've already had before.
Yeah.
I can already tell.
There is a nice fruitiness there, so I'm getting a little bit of like kind of appliness.
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of raspberry, I feel like.
Raspberry, okay, yeah, a bit of red fruit.
Yeah, maybe like a strawberry lace or something. There's something there.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit punky.
Yeah, definitely a tiny bit dairy,
yeah,
slightly lactic,
yeah,
ever so slightly, not off-putting, but just different.
Malty.
Definitely malty, yeah, for sure. Smells a bit like when you get onto a floor maltings and the grain's a bit damp.
And there is still like a coastal quality there. I get like kind of a rock pool minerality kind of element there.
Ooh, nice kick.
Mm.
But not so hot. I don't necessarily think I need to add water.
No, and that's 57.3% ABV, so that's really, really big. But actually, I think it's all right without water.
Yeah. That maltiness follows through for me on the palate.
Definitely.
And a bit of pineapple.
Yeah, definitely pineapple.
Yeah.
My head is going straight into like the sweet shop. Like
pineapple
for sure. Cubes.
Yeah.
Like boiled sour apple sweets, maybe.
Oh, nice.
So there's like a roundness to it. My kind of tongue is watering tasting it.
And just like the wood influence doesn't seem to be as intense here. I'm not getting any like astringency. I'm not getting tannin. It's actually it even at the finish. The heat or any of that aspect is more coming, I think, probably from the alcohol rather than from, sometimes you get that like spiciness from it hasn't been over oaked, which is nice.
Yeah.
So really intriguing. I think this is going to be one that puzzles, but also excites anybody who's a fan of Kalila, and it's definitely something you want to seek out and try.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think you really have to try it.
Yeah. Nice one.
Awesome.
Wow.
Oh. Cheers. Okay, so we're going to travel now where very, very few have gone before, Roseilse.
Very excited about this.
Only the second ever whiskey released from this distillery.
Yeah.
The first one was in last year's, the 2023 Diageo Special Releases, the very first Spirit Exchange.
Yeah.
So this is completely new territory for almost all whiskey drinkers.
Yeah, all whiskey drinkers. Yeah, I always feel privileged and excited, and I think the nice thing about so many new distilleries coming online in Scotland in general at the moment is there's going to be more of these moments where it's like, oh, it's the first time we're trying it. or even the second time. You know, you don't necessarily have that, I guess, roadmap of expectation, which I think with the Kalila, you're almost in your brain thinking, I know what Kalila tastes like, and then they flipped it on its head. Again, super exciting. But with Roseilse, it is just such new territory.
It's an introduction completely, yes.
Exactly.
And interesting that, you know, most distilleries have a pressure to release nice and early.
Yeah.
Distillery's been biding its time, the whiskey's been maturing for years. So this is 12 years old. It's first fill bourbon and refill cask, so it's all about showing off that distillery character as well.
Yeah.
Casks aren't really getting in the way of anything here. Just pure Roseilse in the glass.
Ooh, I'm excited. All right.
Let's try it.
Let's get in. All right.
Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, wow. Super elegant.
That's gorgeous.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. So inviting.
There's like a lovely kind of luxurious honeyed
Yeah.
sweetness. It's so fruity.
So much fruit. It's like a proper fruit bomb on the nose.
That fruit is kind of sparkling to me. It's gorgeous.
I love that sparkling. I almost feel like there's like a ballet happening here. It's just that, like, it's got that lift to it, which is just wonderful. Ooh, I can't wait to taste. Right.
Wow.
Oh, I love to see that follow through, that elegance. So it totally plays out on the palate
Completely.
for me.
Yeah, the nose to palate just follows through so nicely. It's so delicate, so refined. Again, that kind of honeyed sweetness.
Yeah.
Real like tropical fruit.
So much tropical fruit.
Yeah.
Even like melons are in there. There's pineapple. I mean, they're just having a party. It's like a little fruit party in there.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. Wow. That is a stunner of a
Super.
dram.
I tasted last year's as well.
Yeah.
And from what I recall, very similar kind of thing.
Yeah.
So a distillery definitely to keep an eye out for.
Yeah.
That is really, really nice.
Wow. That's for me. That's definitely on my Christmas wish list.
Yeah. Yeah. And last year's one sold out almost immediately, if I remember. So one of them, I'm afraid.
Maybe pre-Christmas wish.
Yeah. if you get a chance to taste it, just for God's sake, do. I think.
Just get in there, get in there. Wow. What a joy.
Awesome. Next, we are into mighty Mortlach territory, the Beast of Dufton.
Beast, right? Let's get these ones out because
Great big beautiful bottle.
we have to show both
Yeah.
the bottle and the packaging on this
Look at
one.
that.
My goodness.
Very, very beautiful.
So Mortlach, obviously we know, again, doesn't release a huge amount of stuff, but always likes to show up for the special releases, which is exciting. So this whiskey, 57.5%.
Yes,
So
it's
again,
one of the big ones.
It's one of the big ones, but what's most exciting about this one is the casks, because they are quite different than what we've seen before, not only on a Mortlach, but on whiskies in general.
Yep.
Do you want to go ahead with the pronunciation on these ones, Alex?
I don't speak Italian. I think you'll know that when I say this. So it's Italian Ramandolo white wine and Sangiovese red wine.
Sangiovese
red wine.
So a couple of interesting, again, going down that wine cask route, which they have done on a couple of the releases this year and in the past as well. So yeah, I'm excited to see if this is tamed. Has this softened the Beast of Dufftown at all?
Yeah.
Or what has it done to it? All right,
Absolutely.
cheers.
Let's have a go. Cheers.
Definitely some nice fruitiness there coming through on the glass.
You can certainly tell it's a wine cask.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Like currants, red currants, there's like a...
Definitely. Yeah. It's quite woody, it's quite tannic.
Yeah. All right.
A lot of vanilla.
I mean, the weightiness of Mortlach is still there, for sure.
Definitely.
And you get quite a lot of wood tannin coming through for me on this one. So you're feeling that impact of a lot of the oak.
Definitely. And there is like a lot of kind of juicy red fruit in there too as well. Yeah, I think it reveals its casks.
Definitely.
Definitely.
A little bit of kind of a funkiness, not quite sulfur, but there's something just at the finish there as well.
Definitely.
Well,
Very interesting.
cheers.
And we move on to Lagavulin Distillery. It's always in the special releases, Lagavulin. It's one of my famous distilleries in the world. You all know it.
But again, also as well, exciting when we see something different from Lagavulin. I think sometimes the big players, and again, that's where the special releases really come to the fore, is showcasing these distilleries that some of them are really well known and giving them a bit of a different twist. So yeah, excited for this Lagavulin.
It's pure bourbon cask, refill cask. There's no sherry here at all.
Yep.
We're in different territory than we would be like Lagavulin 16, your kind of classic.
Yeah, and still for me, Lagavulin 16, one of the most underrated, best value, kind of the classic drams that you can get out there. So a nice opportunity for people to try Lagavulin in a different guise. Bourbon casks, refill casks. So.
Always very excited to see. Nice Lagavulin. Very pretty bottle.
All right, let's get in there.
Okay. Cheers.
Delightful.
I mean, that's just a burst of peat straight away,
Yeah,
is it? Proper
totally.
coastal.
That's that like ashy embery. Yeah.
Beach bonfire.
Oh, it's
awesome.
great. It just feels of a place again. Like I love
Totally.
that.
Yeah.
Wow. Gorgeous nose. A nice amount of fruit though as well.
Really
there.
lovely. Yeah. A little
so,
bit of kind of bourbon cask sweetness, but not too much. It doesn't overstate itself.
No, you're still getting that lovely ashy smoke. Oh gosh. Okay, right, going in.
Oh, gorgeous.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Carries straight on from the nose.
Yeah.
Again, loads of that kind of West Coast peat.
Super like silky and just like, wow. It's got a big amount of peat, but I love the amount of fruit that's in there as well.
So much.
There's a lovely sweetness, really well balanced, tiny bit of grassiness.
Yeah. I feel like you could be there kind of all day and pick out new fruits. Oh. Like maybe lychee in there for me.
Yeah, there's definitely a floral fruit. Whoa.
Some apple in there, gorgeous.
Bit of toffee as well.
The finish is really malty. I feel like I've got like barley in my hand right now, a piece of barley in my hand.
Love that, yeah.
Really taste it. That's gorgeous. Lovely stuff. That's definitely, for people who know Lagavulin through the 16, this will definitely give them something else to think about. Really cool, really interesting.
But I'm super excited that they could still showcase that classic Lagavulin peatiness.
Yeah.
And have that really there and apparent. It's not hiding, but it's just balanced in a slightly different way than usual.
Just a lovely, lovely whiskey.
Gorgeous.
All right, now we're going to move on to the oldest expression from this year's special releases, the beautiful Benrinnes, which you've kind of matched, I think.
I did. I saw all of the information about the whiskeys, and I thought, why not? I'm just gonna meld right in there with this, and it does look very delicious. So I'm excited.
It's a very pretty label, isn't it? I have to say I'm a really big fan of Benrinnes.
Yes.
I think it's a very underrated distillery.
Absolutely, I agree with you on that one. And again, one that you just don't see that much. It's usually used for blending a lot more. You don't see many single malt releases from it. Maybe a few from indie bottlers and stuff like that. But definitely.
And a superb flora and fauna release.
Yes.
Which is where Diageo really got to kind of show it off.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So it's always really welcome to see. Benrinnes.
Nice.
15 years refill cask. We've got European wine and American oak wine casks then for the finish. 6 year, which is really secondary maturation, not a finish.
It is much more of it. Yeah. On this one, I would say.
Very cool.
Cool. Excellent. Let's get in there. Cheers.
Wow. Well, that fruitiness just hits you straight away, doesn't it?
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
Such a burst.
Almost a starburst, if you will.
Oh, you got that just before I did.
There's definitely some strawberry.
Yeah.
There's like
It's
candies, sweet choppy.
Yeah, like strawberry ice cream.
But a little bit of woodiness too. It's like if you've ever smelled casks being toasted, or if you ever had one of those like woodworking pans. What were they? Do you remember these? You would like burn things into wood with like the little pens.
Like a little soldering thing. Yeah.
You can have like designs, and maybe this was a Canadian thing, but everybody seemed to have one of these kits when you were a kid, and you would like trace the outline and stuff. I don't know what.
I know what you mean. I don't know what you'd call that, but I know what you mean.
But it's like the smell of
warm toasted wood.
Warm toasted wood. Yeah, exactly.
And kind of a nice kind of big rich vanilla kind of sweetness there as well.
Yeah.
Again, it's so much fruit.
Yeah. Candied orange, fresh orange. Again, some nice red fruits. Is it?
Definitely.
For me, and this is always like an interesting one because everybody perceives this differently. So in my head, it's slightly sulfury, but it's not sulfury. It's more like a rubbery.
Yeah.
There's something there. It's just that like almost weightiness as well, and
Yeah.
just like a
Ben
little-
Rinnes has that kind of almost waxy, big,
Yeah.
thick, kind of slightly oily.
Yeah.
I love that quality about it, though.
Definitely.
I think, and it takes the fruitiness up another level, I think.
Yeah.
Very, very nice.
Very nice, lovely,
Mm.
and yeah, again, the alcohol is really well integrated after that. You know, it's had that longer maturation, and I think that really benefits here in this whiskey is you're getting a little bit more of the elements that are present on the, you know, from a flavor perspective, with that little bit longer aging. So nice to see.
56.4% ABV.
Yeah,
Is that? I mean, that's
yeah.
quite high, but
It's
actually, in fairness, all of them, none of them I felt like have really like come up the, you know, too heavy, too
no,
harsh.
no, they haven't.
You're
Yeah.
feeling the weight of the ABV, but it's not
Yeah.
overpowering stuff.
Not at all. Lovely. Cheers.
Cheers. And we're going to come to our final whiskey of the day.
Final whiskey.
This beautiful bottle of Talisker,
Yeah.
aged for 8 years, but that's nowhere near the most interesting thing about
No.
this whiskey. The length of time is not interesting compared to how it was matured.
How it was matured. And I think, you know, we've seen 8-year-old Taliskers been released before, so again, I think they're trying here to do something different. I'm super intrigued by this, and I would love to hear a bit more from the guys actually at Talisker about this, but they have been matured in stone spun casks, which is a bit of a mouthful to say.
Yes.
Stone spun casks, say that 5 times fast. And what is, I'm, you know, kind of guessing here is when you do a de-char, re-char on a cask, you might scrape the inside of the cask, re-char it so you kind of help to rejuvenate those casks. In this case, what we're assuming is they've, you know, put some rocks in the cask and spun it many times quickly to help take that inside layer out, and then re-charred it after that. I was reading through the notes on this, and I mean, again, this might show my age, but a big thing when I was a kid on the Christmas wish list was a rock tumbler. Again, I'm also from Canada, so we had less exciting things to spend our winters doing. But yeah, a rock tumbler where you would put the rocks in, stones would come out all nice and polished.
Yes.
So in my head, that's how this is working, is they're putting these stones in and it's like polishing the inside of the
Yeah,
cask.
and I think so. They're very much talking about it in a way that like it was a charred cask.
Yeah.
The stones are taken off the layer,
Taken
then a
off.
very light retoasting,
Yeah.
and it's all about sort of bringing out the natural character of Talisker.
Yeah.
Which is a bit of a theme across.
Yeah,
We've seen some
for sure.
lots of presentation of distillery character, so
Yeah.
could be quite an interesting one. I've never heard of a stone spun
No,
cask
me
before,
neither.
but could be intriguing.
Caught my eye. All right, should we get in there?
Let's go in there.
Okay.
Cheers.
Cheers. Okay. Not as peaty as I was expecting it to be.
No,
It's hidden a little bit more.
the smoke kind of. I don't say billows because that implies too much. It sort of wisps out. It's
Yeah,
very, very
yeah,
delicate.
very delicate. There's like a spun sugar note there. There's something
Yeah,
like
yeah.
and a bit of citrus.
I think maybe a little bit like pear. There's like a kind of
Yeah.
a nice kind of fleshy sweetness
Yeah,
there.
definitely.
Fruity sweetness.
Mm.
And just loads of like coast. That's oysters to me.
Mm. For me, Talisker is always comforting. I find it a really
Yeah.
comforting, pleasant whiskey. This is less peaty than I would maybe expect, but it then kind of, as you say, it kind of pulls through.
It does. Kind of nice, kind of peppery smoke.
Yeah.
It's nice and sweet. It's very kind of seaside. It's just, you know, if you've been to Skye and you've ever sort of walked down that beach outside of Talisker,
Yeah,
it just sort of
totally.
feels like that in a glass, really,
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah. I want to go
Yeah.
sit in there. There's like a really lovely tiny pub somewhere on Skye. I can't remember where it was, and I just remember sitting there with a dram of Talisker and a bowl of chowder, and the wind and the rain
Yeah, I
was
think I've
whipping
been in
in.
that pub.
Yeah,
I
right.
think I've
Just
had
like
chowder.
sat at the
Yeah.
bar, basically
Yeah.
having it, and it's just. Yeah, it's just comfort. It's anybody who likes Talisker is gonna.
Yeah, I just don't see why I wouldn't like that. It's
Yeah.
just really good classic Talisker, basically.
Very classic. Nice. Wow. And a
Beautiful.
wonderful little whiskey to end on as well.
Absolutely. Cheers.
Wow, so we've seen quite a different selection from this year's
Agreed.
special releases.
Mm-hmm.
Spirited Exchange. Great.
Spirit Exchange.
Spirited
Yes.
Exchange. And I really like what they're showcasing here in terms of those cask profiles and what they can do with a whiskey and what you're almost anticipating it's going to be like, and then maybe it being a little bit different than you were expecting. So.
And when we talk about cask influence, we tend to expect to see lots of the cask.
Yeah.
But we forget the other side of that is cask influence showing off distillery character.
Absolutely.
So with our Lagavulin, our Talisker, not doing too much, letting the distillery character shine.
Yeah.
Very interesting stuff, I think.
Yeah. And then giving us a little insight into things like Unpeated Kalila, which again is just fun. Like, it's nice, I think, as a whiskey lover to get a chance to see those distilleries that you might know and love in a different form.
Completely.
As well. So, and a bit of a reminder as well that so many distilleries are making malt whiskey for blends, and so if they're making slightly different styles in their distillery, that's a lot of that is probably going to be going into their blended whiskeys.
Completely, yeah.
And we don't always get an insight into what's actually happening there as the consumer. So yeah.
Or appreciate how complex blends are, and that completely speaks to that.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So yeah, some really fun things there. Favorite?
Oh, I was going to ask you that. Okay. I'm leaning towards the Lagavulin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm Roseilse.
Oh, I forgot about that. No, yeah, that might be it. I think top 3 for me would be Lagavulin, Roseilse, and maybe the Alwynne I was really charmed by.
Do you know what? I am on the exact same page as you.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. I love the balance of that Lagavulin. It was powerful, but so balanced.
Yes.
Alwynne, the nose was just glorious, and then the smokiness kind of poof, kicked through, and then the Roseilse is just elegant in the glass.
Yeah.
Stunning.
Yeah, really good.
Amazing.
Awesome. Great. You can now buy all of these whiskies from Master of Malt. We hope you enjoy the tasting. Alwynne, thank you very much.
Cheers. Adam.